On the 12th of May 2017, you may have switched on your TV that morning and see these headlines.
A major so-called ransomware attack is underway worldwide, with more than 75,000 attacks reported. Now, this particular map right here shows where the attacks are taking place, with 99 countries now affected by this virus.
It looked at first like an attack just on hospitals in the UK, but it's now becoming clear that this malicious software has run riot around the world.
The world was subject to a nasty malware attack from a ransomware cryptoworm called WannaCry, which affected over 200,000 devices in 150 countries. The worst hit agency from this attack was the National Health Service, which had over 70,000 devices affected and held to ransom. Since this ransomware was executed, I've been fascinated by the mechanics of it. I've watched countless documentaries, listened to many podcasts, and read many articles about how this ransomware worked. So the questions I'm going to answer in this video are: what is ransomware? Why was the NHS the worst affected by this? And what can you do to protect yourself against ransomware? And are there any other variants of it? First thing we need to run through is what is ransomware. Ransomware is a form of malware that encrypts a victim's computer, holding it to ransom, making documents and files inaccessible unless a payment is made to the attacker. Once the ransom is paid, a decryption key may be provided for the victim to get their documents back. However, in the past, victims have paid the ransom amount but never got their computer decrypted. A lot of the time, there may be a countdown timer running once the virus has been executed, putting pressure on the victim to pay the ransom. If they don't pay the ransom, their documents and files could be stolen or deleted and lost forever. Depending on the attacker's intent, this could be a fabricated threat to which no harm will come to the victim's documents or their computer in general, or it could be a genuine threat and their details can be exploited once the ransom countdown timer has finished. Unfortunately, the victim will not know if this threat is genuine, so to save their files being lost or stolen, they'll just pay the ransom. Ransom needs to be paid in the form of cryptocurrency, usually Bitcoin, which is eventually exchanged into real money down the line. All the while, the attacker keeps a form of anonymity by setting up fake burner accounts and using fake credentials and details. Once they receive the ransom payment in their Bitcoin wallet, they'll use Bitcoin traders to do cash-in mail transfers using sites such as Local Bitcoin or Paxful. They'll arrange either a physical meetup or do a transaction online to exchange the Bitcoin for cash. There are a lot of ways for an attacker to get their ransom payment. Bitcoin, although a genuine and respected cryptocurrency platform, has been the go-to vendor for illicit activities, up until a few years ago when other cryptocurrency platforms could offer higher levels of anonymity and made it harder to trace the money back to the source. About 92% of malware sources are from phishing links and malware-ridden attachments, which are downloaded and executed on the victim machine. A recent example of this is a drive-by download using COVID-19 as the bait. An email is sent from the threat actor claiming to be from the Department of Health, saying that they have their COVID-19 test results and are using this as the bait within the email. The victim will click the link within the email, which will take them to an infected web page. The malware is then downloaded and executed without the victim's knowledge, and then encrypts the computer, holding it at ransom and demanding payment. Earlier I mentioned the WannaCry ransomware. What made this so effective? The crypto part we've already explained, which encrypts the victim's computer, demanding a ransom payment. The worm part is what made this malware lethal. The National Security Agency developed an exploit called Eternal Blue, which exploited the vulnerability in the server message block protocol in Windows computers. The server message block, or SMB, allows shared access to a network resources such as files and printers between nodes on a network. The vulnerability existed because the server message block version 1 server in various versions of Microsoft Windows mishandles specially crafted packets from remote attackers, allowing them to execute arbitrary code on the target computer. It was suspected that the Eternal Blue exploit was leaked to a group of hackers called the Shadow Brokers in April 2017, which was used by threat actors to develop a worm to spread the WannaCry ransomware. A worm is a self-propagating virus which replicates itself to continue the spread through a network. It will scan for the vulnerability it's programmed to scan for and continue the spread. In the case of WannaCry, it used the Eternal Blue exploit to laterally spread through a network, infecting and encrypting machines. The ironic thing about the Eternal Blue exploit is Microsoft released a patch 2 months before the WannaCry Cryptoworm was released. So if Microsoft had released the patches, why was the NHS affected so badly?
The Health Service will point out that it's just one of many organisations around the world affected by this attack, but it now faces what could be a lengthy process of cleaning up its computers.
The NHS was one of the largest organisation victims to the attack. Up to 70,000 devices were encrypted, demanding the ransom payment. Devices such as computers, scanners, operating theatre equipment and specialist medical devices were affected and unable to be used. Because of the disruption to the service, some operations had to be cancelled and a lot of ambulances were also diverted because of the system being down. The NHS still had Windows XP and unpatched Windows 7 computers running on their system. The reason for this is because the NHS uses specialised software which was specifically built for certain Windows operating systems, so potentially upgrading the operating system to say Windows 10 had the potential to break a perfectly working piece of software which is imperative to the functioning workings of the NHS. Statistics show that 98% of the affected computers worldwide were running the Windows 7 operating system and 0.1% were running the Windows XP operating system. The impact of this attack quickly became a political debate. Claims that the NHS was seriously underfunded and had to cut ties with their customer support, which supported unsupported versions of the Windows operating system. So this is how the NHS in England and Scotland were affected by WannaCry. So what does WannaCry look like and how was it stopped? So within this Windows 7 computer, I've got a few Word documents in the documents folder. One document is called credit card details. If I open that, it's just a document that says this is credit card details. Another document is just called WordPad document, and within there it just says this is a WordPad document. If I now head over to the pictures, I've just got a saved picture of David Brent from The Office. If I run the WannaCry executable I've downloaded, we can see within my downloads folder a lot of files are populated automatically, followed by the Windows desktop background changing. So my desktop's loaded a few files relevant to the infection. If I minimize the window and look at the desktop, it says, oops, your important files are encrypted. If you see this text but don't see the Wanna Decryptor window, then your antivirus has removed the decrypt software or you deleted it from your computer. If you need your files, you have to run the decrypt software. Please find an application file named wannadecryptor.exe in any folder or restore from the antivirus quarantine. Run and follow the instructions. A few moments later, the iconic pop-up window is now displayed. The main bulk of the window has information about what has happened. So the first paragraph describes what's happened, that documents, photos, videos and other files are no longer accessible. Also says, don't waste your time trying to fix the problem, you need a decryption service. Next, it tells us how we can recover our files, but we don't have much time. If you want all your files decrypted, you need to pay. It gives a 3-day countdown to submit payment of $300 before it's raised to $600. We then have another countdown which gives us 7 days before all files are lost forever. Down the bottom, it gives us information on how to pay the ransom. It allows payment in the form of Bitcoin. We can see the Bitcoin address payment needs to be paid to. And on the bottom, there's a link to help the victim learn a bit more about Bitcoin and how to buy it. You also have the option to contact the attacker. If I click on the contact us, it displays a messaging feature to contact the attacker should you have a question. How thoughtful. The attackers also give you a chance to decrypt some of your files for free. If I attempt to open the documents, it says Windows cannot open this file because Windows doesn't recognize the extension. Every now and then, the WannaCryptor 2.0 message displays on its own to remind you that your files have been encrypted. This ransomware was quite advanced when it struck. You even get the option to select different languages to help with your own linguistic preference. I can choose Bulgarian, Danish, Spanish, and many others in the list. If I open Wireshark and load the packet capture file from WannaCry, We can see the malware starting from the source computer and sending an ARP request out to the network to find devices. If we scroll down the packet capture file, there's constant SMB requests being probed to devices on the network. If the device shows a vulnerability, it will send the shell payload to the machine and infect it, and then the cycle repeats. Hence why this is called a worm and is able to traverse across the network, infecting computers as it goes. This virus was active from the 12th of May to the 15th of May and was estimated that the attackers made about $50,000 in Bitcoin. This virus caused about £92 million worth of damage to the NHS due to the appointment cancellations and many other logistical issues. As of the 14th of June 2017, after the attack has subsided, a total of 327 payments totaling over $130,000, which back then was about 51.62 Bitcoin, had been transferred. Killswitch was discovered by a security researcher called Marcus Hutchins. He reverse engineered and discovered that the virus was trying to connect to and resolve to a domain that did not exist. When it couldn't resolve to the domain, it was hard-coded to randomly generate internal and external IP addresses, and it began to initiate communication on the net BIOS port, which allows for computers to communicate over a local area network. It then sends the exploit shellcode and the encrypted payload over the SMB port to the receiving computer. The whole process then starts again and the worm self-propagates and spreads on. Hutchins registered the domain that the virus was trying to resolve to, which rapidly slowed down the spread of the virus, allowing the security companies to patch the vulnerable systems and fix any problems that they were being faced with. Within 4 days of the initial outbreak, all infections slowed right down to a trickle. There are many different variants of ransomware, but WannaCry was the first time in over a decade that a worm began to attack computers on such a large scale. This is what made this particular attack very significant. Other types of significant malware include Reverton, which is known as the police Trojan, which I got by downloading a malicious Adobe Flash update to play an online game. There was CryptoLocker, Petya, which was another major cyber attack. There was Bad Rabbit and SamSam. These are only a few examples. In May 2021, the Colonial Pipeline, which carries fuel between Texas and New York, suffered a ransomware attack that affected their computer systems, which led to a halted operation for 4 days to assist in containing the attack. This further led to fuel shortages. Ransomware can cause some serious issues for businesses and companies. To keep your computer protected from ransomware or any malware for that matter, just follow the absolute basic steps. Keep your antivirus and your security up to date. Check regularly for updates to your security defenses. Windows, Adobe and Oracle usually release patches under the term Patch Tuesdays. Just be cautious to what you're accessing online. Do not click on links or download files from a source that you don't know. The majority of malware infections come from phishing links and attachment downloads from emails. If you don't know who it's from, ignore it and delete it. Regularly back up your computer in case you get infected from ransomware or any malware and your computer has the risk of being wiped. Look to back up your files and documents on a highly secure server or use a cloud backup like Google Drive, or you can even use network attached storage devices or an external hard drive and just unplug it when it's not in use. Try to avoid accessing unsecure websites. Malware can hide amongst these websites and can infect your computer. Usually good online practices is the use of VPNs or a virtual private network. There are many VPN providers, but a couple of popular ones are NordVPN, ExpressVPN and Norton Secure VPN, as well as software-based security such as Windows Defender or McAfee. Using a physical device to sit on the edge of your network can enhance the security of your network and your computers. I personally use devices from WatchGuard. They provide hardware as well as cloud-based protection, which regularly update with threat signatures. WatchGuard operate on a deny by default policy, so policies need to be applied to allow certain protocols through their firewalls. When the WannaCry outbreak hit, correctly configured WatchGuard appliances were able to block attacks and protect users on the network it was defending. Finally, do not pay the ransom, simple as that. If you do become a victim of ransomware, it's not advised that you turn off your computer, as this can enhance the infection of the malware. Unplug it from the network and seek the help of a professional security company to assist you in removing that virus from your computer. Stay safe online and be careful what you're clicking on.